David Tepper is no ordinary investor. He is one of the wealthiest people on this planet. Currently, he is ranked as 87th richest man in the world. He is known as the owner of Carolina Panthers and Charlotte FC. But for us, investors, he is mainly the founder and president of Appaloosa Management, a global hedge fund based in Miami. He is known for distressed debt investments, a bit like Howard Marks, and he gained a reputation for making successful contrarian bets in the financial markets. So let's try to learn a bit from this extremely successful investor. Let's go through the history of his 10 biggest US investments, and let's see what changes he made to them in the recent quarter. And hopefully we will be able to spot some patterns or interesting ideas to implement in our own way of thinking. So let's start with his 10th biggest position, FedEx. It makes up 3.4% of his portfolio, and last quarter he did not make any changes to this position. FedEx is an American holding company focused on transportation, e-commerce and business services. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q1 2023, so it is a very recent purchase. We can see that so far it looks really nice, the price is going up every quarter, but unfortunately we can't learn a lot from such a new investment. So let's take a look at the 9th biggest position for David Tepper, and it is Intel. It makes up 4.39% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced this position by 7.75%. Intel is an American technology company. It is one of the world's largest semiconductor chip manufacturers. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q2 2023, so it is another new investment. And so far so good, the price is up by a few percent, but the only thing we can learn from that is that he believes it is an interesting investment at the current time. And next up in 8th position is AMD. It makes up 4.62% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced this position by 1.52%. AMD, or Advanced Micro Devices, is an American semiconductor company. AMD's main products include microprocessors, motherboard chipsets, and graphics processors. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q2 2023, so at the same time he bought Intel. It's interesting to see that he invested in very similar companies at the same time. So maybe he's not sure which of them will be a better investment, but he believes in the industry as a whole. And 7th biggest position is Alibaba. It makes up 6.16% of his portfolio, and last quarter he reduced this position by 19.55%. Alibaba is a Chinese technology company specializing in e-commerce, retail, internet and technology. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q3 2014, so at last we have some long-term investment. But actually, it is a bit more complicated. He bought and sold this company many times over the years. And we see fast moves, so it seems that he's taking advantage of short-term market swings, at least with this position. But let's take a look at some other long-term investments. At number 6, we see Uber. It makes up 6.58% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 1.4%. Uber provides ride-hailing services, food delivery and freight transport. It operates in approximately 70 countries and makes an average of 25 million trips per day. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q2 2021, so he owns it for around 3 years. And also here we see a lot of movement. But it seems that he decided to make it a substantial investment just at the time when the price began to go up at the beginning of this year. So some nice timing. And top 5 starts with Alphabet. It makes up 7.16% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 19.05%. Alphabet is a parent company of Google and several former Google subsidiaries. We don't know when David Tepper bought his first shares because we have data only from Q2 2014, but in general we see that while the price is going up in the long term, he is making this investment smaller. I think on one hand it is the way he invests, that he makes a lot of changes all the time, but also it is a part of his portfolio strategy. He does not want any position to get too big. He currently has 32 stocks in his US portfolio, so he is pretty well diversified. Fourth biggest position is Nvidia. It makes up 8.8% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 0.49%. Nvidia is an American technology company. It is currently a dominant supplier of artificial intelligence hardware and software. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q1 2023, so it is another new investment. It is probably triggered by the fact that AI is growing, and because of that, Nvidia's position is becoming more and more important in this ecosystem. But just as with other short-term investments, we can't really learn a lot from that. And now we get to the podium places. At number 3 we see Amazon. It makes up 9.41% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 18.58%. Amazon is an American technology company focused on e-commerce, cloud computing, online advertising, digital streaming, and artificial intelligence. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q1 2019, so this is a much older investment. And we see that he started to invest when the stock was around $90, and when it got to around $150, he sold a lot of shares. And when the price went back down to around 120, he's buying again. So he's using the market swings to his advantage. It is a very different strategy to, for example, Warren Buffett or Guy Spier approach of buying and doing nothing. Second biggest position is Microsoft. It makes up 10.19% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 31.85%. Microsoft is best known for software products such as Windows and also its productivity applications. And its flagship hardware products are Xbox and Microsoft Surface personal computer. We don't know when David Tepper bought his first shares, but we know that he owned over 10 million shares of Microsoft all the way back in 2008, when the price was around $28. Now we are well over $300. So he probably would do much better just holding the stock. But instead he sold all of it in 2013 and then bought it back again in 2020. He made it a bigger position recently, so it seems that he believes that a new chapter of this company is just beginning. And it is so easy to say just hold the company and do nothing. But it is much harder to actually do it when the stock is going up and down through the years. And the biggest position is Meta. It makes up 11.56% of his portfolio, and last quarter he added to this position 29.78%. Meta owns and operates Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and WhatsApp, among other products and services. David Tepper bought his first shares in Q1 2014. He sold it in under a year with a decent profit, and then again made some fast changes to this position. And finally he bought it back in 2016 for around $125. Then he sold a lot of shares, first for something close to $170, and then again when the price was at its peak in 2021 for something between $300 and $340. And just as with almost all of his top positions, he is buying a lot of shares in the recent quarters. So it is going to be interesting to watch what will he do next. Are those long-term or short-term ideas? Okay, so this is his US stock portfolio. And technology companies make up over 70% of it. So he really believes that this is the most interesting and profitable sector. He is pretty well diversified with only 2 positions going over 10%. But then again, it is 70% technology, so sector-wise it seems pretty concentrated. He's definitely taking advantages of short-term swings. He makes constant changes to the portfolio, goes in and out of positions. So I would not call him a long-term investor. He is very different than most of super investors we analyzed. He is extremely active. And it just shows that we have to develop a style that is right for us, that takes advantage of our capabilities. There is no one magic formula, one way of investing. For example, I feel much more comfortable with investing style of Guy Spier, Lilu or Buffett, in which they buy a company and just keep it for many years. But David Tepper example shows that if you can take advantage of quick market swings, then it can be very, very profitable. So let me know in the comments what are your favorite super investors that maybe you would like me to analyze in the future. And if you found this video interesting, you may want to check out my analysis of Howard Marks' portfolio by clicking over here. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one.